Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. We are going to build a web-based inventory management system. Now, this video is part one of our inventory management video series, and we will be using Flask and SQLite to build our inventory management system. In this episode, we will set up Flask, understand the project layout, and create our SQLite database with an inventory table. Let's jump right in. Let's start by organizing our project file properly. I'm going to create a folder for our project. Flask inventory app. Alright, as you can see, my folder is created here, and yep, these are the details. Now let's create the virtual environment for our project. Right. So our virtual environment for this project is done. Now with this command, python -m venv virtual environment. Once I executed this command, some of the folders which are required for our project are automatically created inside our Flask inventory app folder. So we have the include folder, which is empty currently. We have the library folder, inside which we have the pip command, and we have a couple of files created automatically. We have the script folder. Now let's activate our virtual environment. And we can see that Python virtual environment was successfully activated, even though venv indicator may not be present in the terminal prompt. All right, so seems like our virtual environment is activated. Now let's install Flask. The command for that is pip install Flask. That's it. Our Flask is installed, and we have the Ginger tool, installed in our system. Let me clear my screen. Now let's create some of the files and folders we would need for our project. First, we would need let me create a file name app.py, which is going to be the main Flask app. Let me create one more file, db.py, and inside this file we will create a couple of functions which we will use to communicate with our database. Now let me create a folder. Templates. Since we are going to create a web-based application, we will be using templates to design the layout of our inventory management system. So yeah, inside this folder, let me create a temporary file for now. Index.html. I'm going to create one more folder inside our app. Static. So to design our web application, we will be using CSS, right? And we may also use JavaScript to add a couple of functions. Now those files, CSS file and JavaScript files will go inside our static folder. Now let me close these files. Before we build our application using Flask, let's understand what is Flask. So Flask is a lightweight Python web framework. It is perfect for small to medium application and very beginner friendly. Now this is my first time, creating a web application using Python. So I need something very simple to work with and something which is easy for me to understand. So I did some research and found out that Flask is a good framework for beginners like me. So which is why I'm using Flask to create our application. There are many web frameworks available on the internet to create Python web applications. So if you are familiar with those, framework, feel free to use those. But if you are a beginner like me, here is a simple analogy to understand, Flask. Think of think of Flask like a waiter. It takes your order like a request, tells the kitchen which will be your logic, and bring back a result, a response from the kitchen to you. We will be using SQLite database for our inventory management web application. What is SQLite? SQLite is a lightweight database, and this is a file-based database. It does not need a server. Everything will be stored in a single file. Now we will be creating a database file for our application inside Flask Inventory app. So yeah, SQLite is also perfect for small application. So which is why I'm using SQLite. Feel free to use any of your favorite, databases. Let me create a database file right away. Inventory.db, right? All right, so we have all the folders we need. We have all the files we need. Now here is the project structure. So we have the app.py, we have the db.py, we have inventory.db, which is our database. We have a template folder inside which we will create HTML template for our web application. And we have the static folder, which is going to store our CSS and JavaScript files. Now let's create a basic, Flask app and run it and see the output. I'm going to import Flask from Flask class. So from Flask import Flask, right? We also need render template, module. I'm going to import db a module. For now, just import db and render template module. We are going to use these two modules later in our program. So yeah. Let me create an app object of Flask. I'm going to give underscore name underscore, which is the currently executed file name. Let's create a route. Okay, so route is basically the URL, which is this is the URL. Now, when somebody enters the root URL, we are going to call this function, which I'm going to define it right now. For now, I'm just going to return let's give h2 Okay. I'm going to say welcome to manager, right? That's it. Now we want this program to run if name equals to, I missed this. Yeah. I'm going to run our app. Now let's give debug equals to true. If there is an error in our file, so debug equals to true will display the error so that we can see it. Right, that's it. Let's save our file. Now let me run my program for the first time. Python app. All right, 1 second. Let me go inside this folder first. Flask and app. Now let me run our program. Python py. All right, we have an error which is, yeah, I misspelled it, so it should be app equals to this. Let me clear my screen and rerun my file. Oh, did I not save my file? Okay, let me save it. Sorry, save it. I'll just control C. There. Let me rerun our file. Warning. Okay, it seems fine. So you can see this message. This is a development server. Do not use it in production deployment. So this is fine. Now our app is running in this particular URI. So let me follow this. You can see, welcome to inventory manager. So here is our first Flask web application. All right, it seems fine. Let me close my application and close this. It's fine. Clear my screen. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, we have just created a simple web application using Flask, which is a web development framework for Python. Yeah, this is our simple web application. Now let's create our database logic in a new file called db.py. So here I'm going to import SQLite 3. I'll just define a function, initialize my DB. Now this function is going to, create a connection from our, Python file to our web database file. And this function is also going to create table inside that database if the table does not exist. So let's create the connection first. Connection equals to SQLite 3 dot. We are going to connect to inventory.db, right? Let's create a cursor. So I'll just name it cur cursor connection dot cursor. A cursor is basically a middleware between your Python code and the database, right? It helps you execute SQL queries and fetch data. Now, this particular line is going to create a cursor object, right? Now let me create the table inside our file. So I'll use the cursor object dot. We want to execute an SQL statement inside our database. So I'll just say create table. If not, create table if not exist. The table name is inventory. Now I want a primary key. The primary key is going to be ID, inventory ID, or just ID. For our web application, it's going to be an integer. This is going to be our primary key. And I want to implement the ID when a user creates a record inside the table. So I'll use auto increment, right? Now I want inventory names. So I'll have an inventory column. This is going to be text and not none. I need quantity. Integer, which should not be none. And I want price. This is going to be a real number, not none. And that's it. So this cursor is going to execute this particular SQL statement inside our connection to our database, inventory database. Now let's commit our changes. I'm just going to call commit function. What is it? Yeah. Here. And once the commit is successful, I'm just going to close the connection, which is our good practice. Now this db file should be executed if name underscore equals to name. Else our connection and the SQL query should not run. So I'll just call init underscore db function. That's it. Now if I run this, db.py file, it should create a table inside our database inventory.db. So let's run this file. All right, that's done. Let's see if we can see anything here. Nothing. So this cannot be seen. Now, seems like the table was created inside inventory.db file. So let's verify if it has been created inside inventory.db file. So let's verify the table. So I'll just create a check data function. Check data. We will create a connection first. We want to connect inventory.db file, right? I'll create a cursor. So this time I'll just name it CR. So let's execute our select statement. Execute. Let's start on inventory and that inventory table. If there is any data inside our inventory table, let's print everything cr dot fetch all. I want to fetch everything and print. Let's close the connection here. We don't want to use the commit function when we are selecting a record from a table. So this is fine. Okay, I think I did something wrong here. So yeah, connection dot commit and function dot close. Yeah, that's it. Um, let's call check data function. I'll just rerun this file. Okay, we don't have any data inside the table, which is why we're getting this empty list. So seems like this is working fine. We will verify this further in our upcoming videos. So let's keep it here for now. Let's recap what we did. We installed Flask and set up our project. Learned about Flask, created a simple Flask application, and we saw the output in our web browser. So it was fun. We initialized a real database using SQLite 3. In the next episode, we will fetch data from the inventory table and display it in our web page using Jinja 2 template and Bootstrap. So stick around, hit like and subscribe, and let's build this together. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.